This is my attempt at explaining Cradle of Ash in a different way because I feel like I don't explain it that well through animations. And most of my posts are old and not canon to the lore, meaning a lot of stuff has changed as I've learned to write better. There will be some content warnings, but I won't go too deep into the characters unless I get a bunch of questions. The story itself takes place in the US around 2015. Three parents from different backgrounds, states, and classes, Dennis, Michelle, and Diego, have all experienced the same thing, and that's losing a child. They end up making a deal with Lucifer and Satan in return for said children with the help of Arlo, an immortal hippie from LA, at the cost of their souls. If one person dies in the 10-year contract, all three of them die and have their souls sold to Lucifer and Satan. This allows demons and overseers to try and hurt them emotionally, physically, and mentally, with the goal of killing them. They do use weapons to counter attacks, but these only work on regular demons, which I will talk about in a second. Hell itself follows the 7 deadly sins principle. The sin you've committed the most is where you'll end up. Heaven in this story is heavily restricted and almost impossible to get into, which is the reason why many kids end up in hell. If you haven't reached adulthood, you are placed where your relatives has mostly ended up, which in this case, the main three's kids are in hell for the acts of their family in the past. There are two different types of overseers, human overseers and fallen angel overseers. Lucifer had created everything but was overthrown by his own angels after making Earth. The fallen angels are more powerful than human overseers, which include the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, the 7 deadly sins, Salem, and the 3 deathly virtues. Human overseers have less power, but also have a big part in causing chaos to humanity. These are your weapon demons, famous war criminals, and just people who've had a big influence on others' suffering. The more influence you had that caused destruction, the more power you have. So basically, it's mortals versus a bunch of demons, which includes people from their past who have died and want revenge for different reasons, whether that be because they've been hurt by them or because they want them to suffer more in exchange for more power. The priest, Callahan, is like an angel on the gang's shoulder. He tries to guide them in the right direction, and even tried to warn them to not make the deal because Arlo's antique shop where the deals are made is right next to his church, and he's seen the consequences of making any deal with Arlo. But this is mostly out of his own religious beliefs that you shouldn't be selling your soul to the devil, but at the same time is being manipulated by a false angel, Salem, the overseer of religion, into doing its bidding. This was just a small overview, but if you want to hear about more characters, please let me know. Also, feel free to ask questions.
Okay, bye!